Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about one of the disadvantages of mounting your red dot on top of the gas tube. Okay, and the way this system works, this is the rail from Midwest Industries, which is a very good rail. It's a very good system, but there's just a weakness to it that everybody should be aware of. The way this system works is you have the bottom rail over here that clamps onto the barrel. Okay, and then the top rail screws onto the onto the bottom rail, and then the red dot basically sits on top of that. Because basically when you fire the gun, the barrel flexes a little bit, right? There's a little bit of a flex. It's flexing through that clamp. Okay, so after a few hundred rounds of that barrel flexing, what is likely to happen is that clamp is going to start loosening up, and that's despite using the Loctite that Midwest Industries gives you. Okay, you don't use regular Loctite because that's going to loosen up with the heat, but you use a special Loctite that they give you that's supposed to work with the heat. Well, despite that, between the heat and the vibration, it still has loosened up. Okay, so now, if this had happened on, let's say, an AR-15, basically you just go up to the scope and you just tighten up the rail, and you re-zero, nice, and and you confirm your zero again, nice and easy. With this, what I have to do now is I have to remove the top rail, which I've actually Loctited into place. So now I gotta break the Loctite of these screws just to get the top rail off. Okay, then I gotta go back to the bottom rail, and then I gotta remove those bolts, that whatever it's, the screws, whatever it's, however it's attached. I have to re-Loctite those. But before I do that, I have to make sure I have to put a leveler on the receiver, and then a leveler on the bottom rail to make sure that the two are perfectly even, because you don't want your rail canted, because if your rail is canted, then your scope is going to be canted. So I have to go through all the trouble of making sure that the rail is perfectly level to the receiver. Okay, and then Loctite everything back into place. And then basically I can, and then I gotta wait until that Loctite basically dries. So the following, I gotta wait a whole other day, at least one day, in order to come back and re-zero the gun. So it's a lot of extra work. Okay, so now, despite that, this is really the best option for an AK-47. Basically I've hit 3 MOA with this system over here. When I had the scope on top of the side rail, I was hitting 6 MOA. Basically I was getting 6-inch groups at 100 yards. Once I went to this system over here where the scope is clamped onto the barrel, I'm getting 3-inch groups now at 100 yards. So I definitely improved my grouping with this rail system, but it has that inherent disadvantage that over time, with a lot of shooting, the barrel vibrating through that clamp, it is going to loosen up. But it's still the best. It's still the best system. But I just wanted you guys to be aware of the disadvantage, and what you're gonna have to look out for and work through. I'm hoping that at some point somebody gets the message that the best thing to do is this piece of real estate over here, where the rear sight is. That needs to become a Picatinny rail, okay? And this needs to mount on here. And they can put a backup rear sight somewhere back here on the dust cover. That's not going to matter, and then we can have that co-witness. But this is the most solid part of the gun right here, where the rear sight is. That's where the rail needs to go, and that's and that's the change that needs to be made. Now, naturally, a lot of AKs are imported from parts are imported from Europe, so they're not going to be able to do that. But Palmetto is making their own AKs, so they need to get on board with that. They need to make that a Picatinny rail, and all of a sudden the usability and the reliability of AK-47s is going to go way up. Now, I don't mean as reliability in terms of the gun itself working. The guns work great, but in terms of it not losing zero over a long period of time, because things are coming loose. Like the rail coming loose, or if you're using the side mount, that wobbling and shaking off over time. So, that's basically what I wanted to share with you guys. I just wanted to let you know that this is, this rail from Midwest Industries, or if not Midwest Industries, some other company. This system is the best way to go on AK-47s right now. But there's that one weakness that you need to look out. And what you do is, if you hold the gun like here from the barrel and you go like this, you'll know right away if it's shaking or not. You know, I can hear it and I can feel it, and I can tell that something's come loose in there, and I need to get in there and tighten everything back up. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it. If you're not a member of the channel, subscribe, hit that bell button. Talk to you guys soon.